You remember that creature we talked about before you went to Nira? The thing that eats terrormorphs, the Asylees? Apparently, they were bloodhounds for terrormorphs. But when the UC ran low on synthetic foods during the Colony War, the Asylees were chosen to fill in the gaps.
We thought they were harvested to extinction. But in the data, the research team found the location of a few remaining specimens. As you can see, what we're proposing is bringing them back. We'd breed populations of them, distribute them to human worlds, and then let nature take its course, using a method that thousands of years of adaptation have already perfected. We could speed up their breeding process using some of the same technologies that were used to create me. We even think that with some time and investigation, we could use the Asylees' hunting skills to track down the terrormorph transmission method at long last. Find out how humanity spread them and put an end to the terrormorph problem definitively. All our data suggests so. Asylees, they're impressive hunters. The few tests we've been able to run, well, they more than got the job done. They're also shockingly adaptable. The data suggests they're able to thrive just about anywhere, and we plan to selectively breed them so they can hunt terrormorphs wherever they're hiding. Which is important, because we did some cross-referencing in the terrormorph data. On worlds where Asylees were present, terrormorphs weren't. This suggests that however it is terrormorphs are getting onto our worlds, Asylees are somehow cleaning that up as well. These creatures are good at what they do. If you pick a fight with one, or you're a terrormorph, sure. But Asylees were already spread across the galaxy once before during the Colony War. As livestock.
They're far less of a danger than the one we're proposing to clean up.
I suppose that's a fair comparison. Except that this time, we'd be protecting human lives, not ending them. Now, there is another option for removing the terrormorphs from our worlds. It's faster, maybe even more efficient, but riskier. A microbe. Something we could aerosolize, let spread, and have it clean up anything with terrormorph DNA for us, which would include morphs, and we expect their transmission method. It'd still take time to build, test, and distribute, but no other method could hold a candle to it when it comes to sheer efficiency. Not even the Asylees.
Well, that's still not 100%. But it sounds like the Vanguard will actually be picking up a fair bit of it. But there's no sense in hammering down those sorts of details before we've made a decision on which route we're taking. Percival assures me that they're minimal. He'll be able to encode safeguards against mutation in the agent's genetics, so that they stick to the task of cleaning up terrormorphs. But the microscopic world has a tendency to behave in ways you can't always predict. So to say there's zero risk would be a lie.
Well, so that's tricky.
Both plans are going to take major investments in time and resources. We're talking years of work, not to mention some highly specialized materials.
Terrormorph cell lines we can breed quickly and consistently to test on. Asylees gene samples we can use to rebuild their bloodlines. Or sharpen our microbes tracking skills. Not the sort of things any labs just got lying around.
But we think we found a lead. One place in the known galaxy where we know we should be able to find all the materials we need. All paths lead to Londinian. It was the central hub for Asili's processing during the Colony War. But, and this part's exciting, the terrormorph data suggests Asilis were first found there. The planet it's on, Toliman 2, was their homeworld. Meaning, there's a very good chance their prey, the terrormorphs, came from that same world. Which would also explain why no one ever suspected that planet as the terrormorph source world. The Asilis were too damn effective at cleaning them up. Additionally, it explains why once the Asilis were gone, the outbreak there was so catastrophic. Londinian could very well be where the terrormorph saga began. And the key to its end. It's certainly not encouraged, but the UC's given their sign-off for this excursion. This trip is all above board. It's dangerous, yes. But Kaiser, Percival, and I, we've trained for this. And you're not so green yourself. And the last thing I want right now is for the UC to stick us with some gung-ho jarhead who's gonna put us and the mission at risk. Captain, you're the reason we're all here right now. You're the person I think can help us finish it. Will you join us on this? Exactly what I was hoping to hear. Now, the UC has a small operating base on Londinian's outskirts. We're cleared for access, but we'll need to check in with the base commander, Sarah Hatoum, when we touch down. I'm gonna help Percival and Kaiser prep, but once that's done, we'll rendezvous with you there. But you need to know, Londinian? It belongs to the terrormorphs. They'll have anti-Xeno gear for us at the base, but I'd make sure you've got your favorite arms on hand.
is off limits. You were advised to jump to safe harbor immediately. Let me check my logs. All right, you can proceed. We'll let them know you're on your way down.
Landing gear. Check. Steering. Check. Inside. Clear.
So, have you ever made yourself a news fan on the ship?
I have, Dad. I want to be as good a co-pilot for the captain as I am for you.
Well, you're doing a great job, String Beam.
Hi. Please disregard. I attempted an informal greeting, but I am dissatisfied with the results.
Inside the barriers, double time! You with the Xeno unit? You're heading to command, far end of the compound. I'll send the rest of your team along once they arrive.
word of it if I can't chat right now.
Pardon?
Don't go into the city much. Never for long. Too risky.
Yes. What? Hey.
I pride myself on knowing everyone on this world, and I don't know you. You're with the collection team then, I presume. Either that, or you're one deeply unlucky trespasser. Vanguard, eh? Brief said you were a eclectic group. You must have really shined out on the fringe to get assigned a task like this. Ah, then this must be the rest of your outfit.
Commander Hatum,
No need for introductions, Major Sinon. Dr. Walker, your reputations precede you, as does the urgency of your mission, so I'll get to it. Now, Londinium is one of the most dangerous places in the Milky Way. It's for good reason my soldiers and I do everything we can to avoid entering the city. Terrormorphs are omnipresent, and the structural damage left behind when Major Sinon's father bombed its spaceport has turned large swathes of the metropolis into a decaying labyrinth. As such, we'll be providing you all with gear, information, and uploading municipal unlock codes to your robot. Every tool you could need to succeed out there. Except one. Once you're on the other side of those barriers, you will be on your own. If you get into trouble, my people will not be coming. Do we understand each other? The initial terrormorph outbreak that overran Londinium during the tail end of the colony war came as a complete shock. Waves of the creatures appeared out of nowhere, and the city was quickly overwhelmed. There were some attempts at evacuation, but Ve Victus decided more definitive action was merited. He ordered the spaceport to be bombed, ensuring no other ships could leave the city, halting the spread of the outbreak but leaving large sections in ruins and condemning countless lives. And the intervening 20 years have only made Londinian more hostile, not less. So my people will not be coming for you out there. Understood? We are unwanted guests on this planet, and, as a rule, I don't put my people in any more risk than is absolutely necessary. We've got it hard enough out here. So, no, there will be no cavalry sweeping into the rescue. Terrormorphs, and plenty of them, outside our little sanctuary here, much of the planet is theirs. For that reason, we keep our trips into the city to a minimum. That also means our intel becomes largely historical once you go much beyond the defenses. It's also why I want to make sure I'm being crystal clear. Out there, you're on your own. Precisely. I'll leave you to your preparations then. You can find your equipment in our armory, base of the tower just outside. And I do believe there's someone waiting for you there, Captain. Now, once you're outside the base, it's my personal suggestion you make a beeline to the nearby Aceles plant. It contains one of our field caches. Though I can't guarantee it won't contain anything else. I hope you all find what you're looking for out there. Robot, you're coming with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commander. Percival, you all set to hook into their comms tower?
Should only take a few minutes. Let's get this done and get the hell out of here.
Percival will be scanning the city for our samples from here. When he finds one, he'll transmit the coordinates to us out in the field.
Pinpoint's a bit strong.
The equipment will be able to get us a rough location of any acceptable samples in the scan area. It'll be up to you, Kaiser, and I to find the things. All right. Head over to the armory and gear up. Once you're done, we'll meet by the entrance to the city.
Howdy. You match our description. The Vanguard captain? The cabinet wanted you to have something. Make sure you had the best tools for the task at hand. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Transfer's complete. Those codes will allow you to temporarily restore power to most facilities in the city. Systems should shut themselves back down automatically.
Duly noted, Commander.
Someone's always watching the gate. You can come and go as needed.
We should not delay.
All set on your gear? Are you ready to do this? Then let's get this show on the road. Kaiser? Percival, everything green on your ends?
I am ready.
Personal comm should be routed through Kaiser now. You copy that?
Roger, loud and clear.
Perhaps too loud.
Oh, you're a riot robot.
Kaiser, kick it off.
Unlock code transmitted. You may open the gate when ready.
Alright. On our way into the city. Percival, where are we heading?
Running the first sweep. Got one. A Sealy's. Not far. Old shipping yard just past the processing plant. Gene samples are probably in one of the containers.
What? That creature. It's dominated. Must be a morph nearby, keeping it under its sway. Let's put it down.
Target elimination imminent.
Swarm them. Clean them up.
Beginning the scan.
Your shipping yard's just beyond the processing plant. Cache with some goodies is towards the rear of the facility.
Kaiser, we close enough for you to dial in the location of those samples from here?
Yes, they're faint, but I'm detecting multiple valid signatures. I have restored power to the containers.
Jackpot! Get down there and collect as many as you can.
closer now.
There it is! Open fire! Fire! Damn it! All sides! They're all around us! Fall back! Fall back!
It's not working. It's never going to work.
Target has escaped. Initiating a search. I think it's trying to play. Not quite.
Surrounded. All around. No way out.
Now hand those over to Kaiser, and let's get out of here.
Samples secure.
Nice work. Now, earlier scan picked up a valid terrormorph sample, but, well, it's in the spaceport. The quick route there looks like we got blasted. Or dead.
There are steam tunnels under the city, which will allow us to access the spaceport.
What do you... That's right. Kaiser, how did you know that?
I'm not sure.
Percival, you see any better option?
Not from where I'm standing.
Then we've got our answer.
Access unlocked. We may proceed.
No contacts. Stay sharp.
No hostiles detected by near-range sensors.
Kaiser, this flora, this is Lazarus plant, isn't it?
Confirmed.
You know, no one even realized it was a living thing until someone got it under a microscope and saw it had cells. Can't be cultivated anywhere but Londinian. A real marvel. All these leeches. What's keeping you things warm? What's that? My God, look at it. A Lazarus in bloom. You know, we might be some of the only... What's happening? Captain, have you seen this? Are terrormorphs. You just saw that, right? You would tell me if I was losing my mind. That heat leech became a terrormorph. The pests that have snuck onto every planet are baby terrormorphs. Heat leeches hide out in ships, sneak away after landing, and then, with time, they transform. We just found out how terrormorphs move between planets. That I don't have an answer for right now. But if they share a genome, like most nymphs and adults do, the microbe should have no problem dealing with heat leeches and terrormorphs. The Aciles we'll have to look into. But given what we know about the creatures, I wouldn't be shocked to find that they've got an appetite for both. No, Lazarus plants can't grow anywhere but here, let alone blossom. People have tried. Plus, if what we just witnessed was happening anywhere else, well, it wouldn't just be Londinian lost to these things. What we just saw, it must be some kind of alternate growth method. One that winnows 70 years of maturation into seconds. It's incredible. I am sincerely inclined to agree, but current evidence suggests nature manages it just fine. The Lazarus plant. It's clearly an accelerant for the terrormorph, a heat leach transformation process. Make one into the other in an instant. But that means if anyone knew about this, they could trigger a terrormorph spawning. You could sneak a leech into a city, or even multiple leeches, into a place like New Atlantis. Good God. The attack on New Atlantis, could someone have set that up? But first, you'd have to know the truth about all this.
Well, we're never gonna know if you don't catch that thing. Get after it!
We may proceed.
Go!
Can't believe what we just witnessed. Clear from here. Stay sharp.
Situation normal. Recon protocols active. Initiating target elimination.
All right, let's get to the bottom of this. Percival, Kaiser's got the cell data from the New Atlantis and Tau Ceti attacks, right?
Uploaded them myself.
Captain, let Kaiser take a look at that sample.
Beginning analysis. It is a match. This suggests with high certainty that the Lazarus plant was used to trigger the attacks on both planets.
There's no way a plant this rare, this fragile, just shows up here, New Atlantis, and Tau Ceti. The transformations on those worlds, they must have been triggered by human hands. Captain, do you understand what it is we just stumbled on here? Exactly. Someone saw the Lazarus plant in action and used it to trigger the attacks. Makes some sense, actually. Tau Ceti was likely their first test, someplace remote where no one would question a few settlers going missing. Ensure the big show, the attack on New Atlantis, would be a success. And the timing of that one, it couldn't have been just luck that it happened right when we were asking the cabinet to do something about the terrormorphs. These attacks, I think someone planned them to set all this in motion. It can't. At least, I didn't think it could. But maybe if we're right about this, someone found a way. They certainly were. But having this answer, well, it raises a couple big questions. Who could pull something like this off? And why? Makes two of us. A lot of possibilities, but no clear answer.
Let's save the discussion for when you all aren't standing in the universe's closest equivalent to hell frozen over. If we're gonna do anything to prevent more terrormorph attacks, human cause or otherwise, we need that final sample.
Roger that. Kaiser, get us into the spaceport?
The entrance is this way. To provide sufficient power to the lock mechanism.
Anyone got ideas where we could get some extra juice?
Local power looks like it was controlled in the security office. Upper floor.
Captain and I can scout it out. Kaiser, see if you can't find another way to get it open.
Roger that. I have restored power to the office entrance. You may proceed.
there's the control panel. Still looks operable. Of all the things to survive. Captain, I think I see it.
Reboot engaged. Running diagnostic. Diagnostic complete. Multiple systems unavailable. Warning, priority safety concern detected. Exterior hatch power restored.
Back in business.
Warning, emergency recorder message detected. Transcription process engaged. Playback initiated.
Admiral Sonar, we need to make the evacuation request.
That's my father he's addressing. He was here? Didn't think he'd have the guts to look those soldiers in the eye before blowing this place to pieces.
Admiral!
He just transformed. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe. Colonel, the troops that closed off the sewers after my evaluation, they're all in this facility.
Other than our casualties, yes, sir.
Good. Get them into defensive positions around the spaceport. No one leaves. I'll send ships as soon as possible.
Thank God. None of us wanted to go down swarmed by those things.
That won't be your fate, Colonel. You have my word.
Transcription complete. Physical copy available.
An invisible weapon. He knew. He knew about the Lazarus plant. Grab that recording. We should talk.
Admiral Sanon, we need to make the evacuation request. Admiral!
It just transformed.
Hey, Victus. He destroyed this place. Killed these people to keep what he knew about the Lazarus plant and the terrormorphs and all this a secret. Didn't he? Heard that recording. He saw the potential of the plant as a weapon and hid it away. He killed those people to keep them from sharing what they might have seen. Condemned this whole city to death. He's decided to sentence his own soldiers to death. What kind of commander is that? But if the plant was used to trigger the attacks, could Faye Victus have been involved in the massacre on New Atlantis? And there's no one he's in contact with that could help him on the outside? He got a hold of you, didn't he? But I guess we're not getting any more answers right now. Come on, let's go get that last sample. Kaiser, try it now!
Guys, your sample, it moved. I'd be real careful out there if I were you.
That doesn't sound good. Eyes peeled. coming after us. I guess we should grab that sample while we can. Good. Now just stash that sample with Kaiser and we're done.
Final sample secure.
All wrapped up. Time to get the hell out of here. Percival, you should unplug and find somewhere we can talk. Privately.
On it. See you soon. Look at all of you. Back from the underworld. Got pretty frantic on the comms towards the end there. But it sounded like this was a success. Got everything we need to put this plan in motion. Can't be positive until we run some tests. But knowing that the terrormorphs have been masquerading as heat leeches all this time is a big find. Arguably makes things more feasible, now that we know what we're dealing with, not less.
Agreed. Plus, I don't think you're gonna have to push real hard to get folks on board with cleaning up one of the galaxy's greatest pests if this is what they're capable of.
But none of that's getting done without the samples. You do have them, right? Ah, this place for them. Now, my connection might have gotten a bit fuzzy there, but do I have it right that Vae Victus knew about this damn plant?
That's what it sounded like.
Guess the old Admiral must have told someone what he learned. Even he's not clever enough to pull off an attack like that from the great beyond.
It's a bit more complicated than that. Captain, he needs to know. Vae Victus is alive, which means he could have been involved in the attacks.
Alive? He's... Vae Victus? That can't be true, right?
Unfortunately for us all, yes, it's true.
So that means we have a suspect.
I believe that's exactly what that means. Look, Captain, Percival and I, we need to get these samples back to the lab. Ensure we'll be able to handle cleaning up the leeches as well as the terrormorphs. But Vae Victus is the only solid lead we've got on the attacks. Since you're the only one who knows where he is, can you speak to him? See if you can get him to cough up anything he might know. Captain, I truly don't. He's already shown he's taken an interest in you. I'll be a lot more useful in the lab right now than I would be grilling Francois. So do you think you could do it? Please? Good. We'll all meet back at MAST, outside the cabinet chambers. They're gonna want to know everything we've uncovered here. Best of luck, Captain. And thank you for dealing with him. We'll meet outside the cabinet chamber. Vae Victus knew. Now it's up to you to find out what he did with that knowledge.
Terrormorphs are heat leeches. Considering what else we found, that might be the least surprising discovery of the day. So someone's figured out how to use the terrormorphs as weapons. Thought we'd learned our lesson. Terrormorphs are heat leeches. Considering what else we found, that might be the least surprising discovery of the day.
Visiting a Londinian has left me with a longing for Nira. I did not think this was possible. The samples are preserved.
pressure, seals, ship integrity.
Was there? If there's anything I can do for you, please. You won't find a better offer on the station.
Just doesn't add up. Spaceport has anti-Xeno protocols. How the hell does a whole
Londinian of all places. I presumed you must be onto something big. Did you find what you were looking for? I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Is there some way I could be of assistance? Were you able to recover what you were looking for? Good news, then. So, what exactly are you doing here? Plenty still to be done in defeating the terrormorphs, no? Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording, but I sincerely hope you didn't come to the wrong conclusions. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might misinterpret such a discovery to mean I could have been involved with the attacks. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us. Of course. Do I look like I'm in any position to do what you're describing? So I'd very much appreciate your agreement to not share what you found. We wouldn't want anyone else jumping to conclusions now, would we? You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The terrormorph attacks on Tau Ceti, New Atlantis, my doing. Years of coordination between my associate and I, figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian, learning to synthesize it, use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing. All in due time. First, I want to see if you're truly as astute as you appear. So why would someone like me go through all this trouble? Not a bad thought. But no, the attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian Spaceport, fixing two problems at once. Halting the spread of the city's terrormorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential. These were the final days of the colony war, Captain. The Freestar Collective had spies everywhere. I was concerned that if word got out, the Collective could swoop down, start breeding Lazarus plants, and overrun our worlds with waves of terrormorphs. Just like what was happening on Londinian at that very moment. Sealing off the city to prevent mass death? It was the only option that made sense at the time. It's easy to judge now. In that moment, I wasn't about to add another dangerous variable to an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You. It wasn't easy. But the beauty of being loathed is that people will do whatever they can not to deal with you. They wanted to pretend I didn't exist. And so I used their blind eye to my advantage. Still, establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams was painstaking work. I've led campaigns less nerve-wracking. They believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient, dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands. All without the UC realizing whom you were actually dealing with. Slow work. But as you can see, ultimately effective. Can't remember the many lives you've taken. Orlays was the man whose death you brought about around the moon of Etheria, the pilot of the Warlock, the man I had to eliminate, to hide my secret. Why would I want to be in the good graces of the people who control my very life? I don't know, Captain. Maybe I still dream of a life outside these walls someday. A new face would be needed, of course, but it wasn't an impossibility. Though now, I'm not so sure. Captain, please. You've benefited here as much as I have. Maybe more. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday. Something befitting the dedication to the colonies you two have shown. While of course they can't give you a command, responsibility like that has to be earned. The Cabinet does have access to considerable resources. I expect you'll be quite pleased with the result, and none of it would have happened without my intervention. You're being honored only because I arranged the situations where it could happen. Be grateful. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the terrormorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orlez's role in the attacks to the cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlez and Orlez alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together. Hunting down criminals and other threats to the United Colonies. I expect they'll give me a bit more free range once this is all over. You would help me, like you did with Orlez. Track them down, and keep them from doing harm to the United Colonies. Impossible, though, if the cabinet learns I'm the one responsible for the attacks. And how many have you killed to get where you are now? There are no great works that don't cost lives, Captain. Whether it's winning a war, or digging a tram tunnel. So we sacrificed a few dozen in the attacks to possibly protect millions. That seems like a fair exchange to me. I only hope you'll see the same, and leave my name out of the discussions to come. Well, I do hope you'll keep the larger perspective in mind, Captain. We've done something great here. Let's not squander the opportunity to do more. Was there something else we needed to discuss? I'll tell you why. Because the UC was, and is, full of people unwilling to pay the price required for victory. In the last days of the war, the UC was on the precipice of executing a final great assault on the Freestar Collective home system of Cheyenne. A massive strike, capable of obliterating Freestar Central Command and ending the conflict at long last. But just before we could launch the strike, word came from Londinian. The terrormorph outbreak had begun. I went to the city to assess the state of things, and discovered the Lazarus plant. We couldn't spare ships for a proper quarantine, so it was my decision to destroy the spaceport and seal off the city. Deal with it quickly, so we could get back to winning the war. I had a single ship. What would you have had me do? Ask them and the terrormorphs to form a line, and the UC fleet was spread thin already. No, I touched down, assessed the situation, made a decision, and returned to the task at hand. Very well. So upon my return from Londinian, we proceeded with our killing blow. Initially, we had great success against the mess the Freestar Collective called a Navy. But then the Freestar citizenry decided to get involved. Dozens of civilian ships jumping in to shield their military counterparts. I, of course, had no trouble firing on what should have been designated enemy vessels. But my peers had lost the stomach for it. So many lives lost already, they wailed. So the great UC Navy was routed by a mob. They picked our ships apart. The UC surrendered not long after. And thus rang the death knell for the great UC. It's human nature to see patterns, even when there are none. What ended the colony war was cowardice, nothing less. We were in the middle of an all-out war, Captain. Committing ships to save the city would have left another undefended. Which city would you prefer I'd sacrificed? Sidonia? Gagarin? New Atlantis? And if anyone else had learned about the Lazarus plant, well, the risk was too great. I weighed the options and made the call. Why? That's the very problem. Harvesting the pollen directly is impossible. Too fragile to leave Londinian's atmosphere. But with sufficient time and resources, a large entity like the UC or Freestar Collective could learn to synthesize the pollen, turning the Lazarus plant into a bioweapon unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. Thus why the terrormorphs need to be dealt with. It wasn't solely for the benefit of the Sanan name that I organized the attacks. Our work will protect many lives. Once we'd cracked synthesizing the Lazarus plant's pollen, research that took years in and of itself, the attacks were exceedingly simple. Orlaze's ship would land on our target, bearing a few heat leeches. Nothing that would raise suspicion. Then Lazarus pollen was pumped out of the ship during liftoff from the planet's surface. Shortly thereafter, an attack. A strike perpetrated in mere moments, with no one being the wiser. Which is why the work you and Hadrian are doing now, the work I've put into motion, is so critical.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the acyles are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against terrormorphs.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything? Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus plant? I knew it. The second I heard that recording, I knew. Why? Did he say why he did it? It takes some deeply twisted logic to think anything did more harm to the Sanan name than him. Well, once we inform the cabinet, they can ensure he won't be able to do anything like this ever again. I'm sure he did. But he killed dozens of people, and I'm not about to let him get away with something like that. So I guess that gives us our final answer. Nothing left to do but head in and see what the cabinet thinks of it all. Unless there was more to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the terrormorphs. It's hard to know. Unlike my father, the cabinet aren't butchers. But killing UC citizens, along with everything else he's done, is unforgivable. But if you're really that concerned, you could request they be lenient. They might be willing to spare him. Asylees aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the terrormorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Asylees, we're at least dealing with known risks. They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Asylees seem like they're even better at tracking leeches than morphs.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch 'em. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti. Microbe is gonna make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math, and a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in, see if they have a preference. And here we go.
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the terrormorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true?
My God.
An attack? Using terrormorphs? How is that possible?
You will all receive a full briefing once we're done here. So then, is what the second report claims correct? Did Reginald Orlays commit these attacks, Captain?
Orlays?
It's true, ma'am. I heard the recording myself. My father figured out how to use terrormorphs as weapons.
He did what?
That's impossible. He doesn't have the kind of access to...
Clearly, he made his own access, Chief Sarkin. Madam President, I have been saying for years that not dealing with that man was gonna end in tragedy.
Enough! I hope everyone here understands that what has just been shared is a state secret of the highest order. This information does not leave this room. Now, that's quite the accusation you're leveling, considering Francois Sanon has not left containment for the better part of 2 decades. You have evidence to back this up?
It just transformed. A terrormorph out of thin air. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe.
Heavens help us. Is that actually him?
I'd know that voice anywhere. That's Francois.
He knew they could do this, and said nothing.
He's a sociopath. Plain and simple, ma'am.
Officer, please collect that recording.
Yes, ma'am. Begging your pardon, Captain.
We'll, of course, be launching a full investigation into how this could have happened. Though I have little doubt the Admiral will be quick to share all he knows on the subject once confronted with that recording. Chief Yassine, can you send one of your interrogators to have a little chat with the Admiral?
I'll issue the order immediately.
Good. Combined with everything else you all have uncovered. Well, I don't think the United Colonies can thank you enough. We failed the people of the colonies by not dealing with Vevictus sooner. I intend to rectify that mistake immediately. That's truly disconcerting to hear. But cutting off Vevictus's contact with the outside world is likely to be just the beginning of his punishment. I'm not sure I see why someone with UC blood on their hands would merit leniency. But I will note your request when the decision is made. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the 3 of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the Cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the Cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Well, luckily the natural hostility of Londinian makes keeping out trespassers relatively easy. But we'll ensure its growth is contained, that access to the plant is only permitted via highly regulated clearances, and that our troop presence on Londinian is increased.
Tell the Freestar Collective. Wow. So they have another tool to utilize against us?
I'm in agreement. I fail to see the value here.
That is an interesting idea.
A grand gesture to further display this cabinet doesn't think like those of the past.
The observers on Mars have proven such a gesture can bear fruit.
So, you want us to make nice with the collective by sharing our state secrets?
No, I want us to display plainly the UC's actual intentions, that the plant will never be used as a weapon again.
That does sound worthwhile, Chief Kulkarni. Very well. We'll get the collective involved in the management. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the terrormorph, and now also heat leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps. The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous.
Using it to wipe out the terrormorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter. I believe we have a responsibility to do something, yes. Heavens forbid, years from now, someone reopens the Pandora's box that Vivictus discovered. It falls to us to enact every measure required to ensure that day never comes. Please, ask. The responsibilities will be spread across multiple branches of the UC. Research and day-to-day administration will be handled by a new group under the Science Division. All diplomatic concerns and coordination will fall to Chief Yassine and Interstellar Affairs. But most of the actual on-the-ground work, that'll be handled by the Vanguard. This won't work without them.
Exactly right, ma'am. The Interstellar Affairs Office has already begun reaching out to worlds throughout the settled systems, informing them of the risks we're all facing, and that the UC has a plan to prevent what happened on New Atlantis from happening elsewhere. Thus far, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. The spirit of mutual cooperation displayed between the UC and the Freestar Collective in managing the terrormorph data set a good tone for the work we're doing, Captain. We expect we'll hit some resistance, but our office has plenty of carrots and sticks to ensure the program's widespread success.
Infinitesimally low.
But not zero.
The chance of a starship landing on you as you sit here isn't zero, yet you still attended. Personally, my fear isn't mutation, but terrormorphs developing a resistance. But that's something our group can continue to address if we decide to take this approach, as I believe we should. I can feel this one. While intimidating creatures, certainly, Aseles are docile and less provoked. They're honestly closer to oversized mobile scanners than deadly predators.
The concern is that, while all proposed methods will be long-term efforts, the Aseles are the slowest. Slow to breed, slow to deploy. We do everything we could to accelerate that process, including mustering some of our mothballed cloning technologies. But if we do elect to use this method, we'll be doing things at the pace of a megafauna, which is not an expedient one.
Very well. Then did you have a preference on the method we should deploy?
I'm in full agreement. No need be delving into unpredictable sciences.
And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day 1 for the United Colony's Terrormorph Management Division, making you 3 the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the Cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated their lives to the United Colonies, or done great things for its cause. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement, an additional reduction on the cost of colonial goods. And I'm told the penthouse is rather impressive. You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sinan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
And as a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you, Captain, will have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander. Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Those officers we lost at the spaceport are getting justice. And that's
The
because
whole
of
of the settled systems are in your debt, whether they know it or not.
The TMD
If
has
I ever
a
see
long
another
road
heat
ahead
leech,
of it.
it'll be too
But the results
soon.
will be worth it.
Creating some Franken microbe to wipe out the terrormorphs. Well, I'm glad you saw the obvious issues with that plan as well.
You're out there a lot, right? In space?
All branches of the UC are on
Do
board
us
with the
all a
plan.
favor and never turn
Now
into
it's
one
just
of
a
those
matter of
spacers.
executing.
Scum of the galaxy. Robbing, stealing, killing. Even the Crimson Fleet don't trust them.
Excuse me? Radcliffe's requests are so over the top. Is she just toying with us?
Having a good one?
Well, I've got to say, this is a first. I've never had a Class 1 citizen in my ranks before. Congratulations, Captain. No need to thank me. You brought this on yourself. I've already gone ahead and processed your Class 1 benefits. All UC goods and services should now have a thanks for protecting the colonies discount. And the credits should be in your account now. But to get into your penthouse, you'll have to pay a visit to the Aphelion Realty office. They should be able to grant you access. Higher-ups wanted to make sure you know how much they appreciate what you've done. But with all that squared, it's time to get you a new assignment. There are your standard Vanguard missions, putting those pilot skills to use defending UC space. Or you could help the TMD in cleaning up terrormorphs. Oh, and I got a request from Dr. Walker. Wanted your help collecting biological samples to keep an eye out for any, new alien threats on the horizon. Any of those missions call to you? Any chance to bag some bugs, right? Well, I can provide. Let me just check my logs. Okay, these coordinates should get you to your first target. There. These missions are straightforward. Proceed to the location, kill the critter before it can do any more harm. Just be smart out there. Don't want you getting banged up too bad on your first hunt. Super et ultra, Captain. What can I do for you? Need someone to investigate a couple problem ships out in UC space? You interested? Trouble. At least a couple of crafts worth from the sound of it. And we don't expect them to play nice, so you'd be weapons free on this mission. Any level of force required to deal with the threat. So, still interested? All right, let's get you the details. Transferring that to you. Done. Report says ships at these coordinates fired on United Colony's craft. You're cleared to use lethal force if necessary. Documentation suggests Ecliptic might be involved in the attack, so I'd take extra precautions. Do us proud. Get out there and clean house with that morph. Unless there was something you needed from me.
You see any heat leeches? You've got our permission to come here.
Well, well, if it isn't the United Colony's newest Class 1 citizen. You've made quite a name for yourself in New Atlantis. In fact, the higher-ups want to thank you for your dedicated service by giving you one of the nicest pieces of real estate in the city. It's a premium penthouse at the top of Mercury Tower. Best location in New Atlantis, in my professional opinion. What do you say? It'll just take a second to get you registered as the owner. Great! You're in for a real treat. It's one of my favorite apartments in the city. Okay, you're all set. Your new home's located in Mercury Tower in the residential district. You'll love the place. It has a gorgeous floor plan and an unbeatable view of the city. Now that you're an owner, I'm sure I'll be seeing you around town. Never a better time than right now to settle down and make New Atlantis home. If you're a citizen, of course. You've actually already purchased everything we have available. Have I mentioned that you're one of my favorite customers? I really do appreciate your business. Enjoy your time in New Atlantis.
So nervous before the flight.
back upstairs. The Admiral's no longer in residence.
But you all are here because you can handle it. So any questions, concerns, anything at all giving you pause, you come see Dr. Walker or I. Little problems left unchecked become big problems. And we fix big problems here, not make them. Now let's get to work. Welcome everyone to the TMD.
Pardon?
Hello. Yes? Captain, looks like we missed each other back at MAST. Listen, I just wanted to say, I could have never guessed where all this was going to lead. But now, knowing what I do, that my father truly is the monster I always thought he was. Well, I've just spent a lot of my life in pursuit of the truth. So, you bringing it straight to me, it just means a lot. The best ones certainly do. You know, I was thinking, while we were up on that podium, if I wanted to try and see him again. But I knew the answer before I even finished the thought. I didn't. Because confronting him, what would I have gained from that? From letting him remind me I can never truly be rid of him? Nothing. Now, all I'd be doing is acknowledging that he still has some sway over my life. And while I can't do anything about his role in my past, I'm not about to let him control my future. And thanks to what we've done together, that future is brighter than it has been in a long time. Words can't do justice to how grateful I am for that. You know I can't do that. I've got an assignment. But I'll never say no to a visit when you're in the area. Remind us all how much we owe you. Well, I think it's safe to say you succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. It's been an honor, Captain. Good luck out there. Never a dull moment.
Hey.
Okay, hello.
I'm not certain. After the disbanding commanding of the Red Devils and the Xeno Warfare team. I was put into storage. I do not know how I came to be reactivated. But a partially deleted log suggests sale to a non-military third party. I presume this third party was responsible for transporting me to Nira and providing me with my new directive. Eliminate the planet's remaining Xeno weapons. I have no additional data on the subject. My primary work was accompanying Major Sanan and Dr. Walker on field assignments to collect specimens for possible battlefield application. But on more than one occasion, I was actively deployed. My time on Nira, directing Unit 99 and its siblings against Freestar forces, was such a deployment. Major Sanan is responsible for my creation. The work of the Xeno Warfare team required a vast array of specializations. Field scientists capable of surviving in deadly environs. Soldiers delicate enough to leave dangerous Xeno life forms subdued, but unharmed. Major Sanan constructed me in an attempt to accomplish all those needs. I believe my field record would show that she was successful. That is correct. Major Sanan is responsible for my creation. The work of the Xeno Warfare team required a vast soldiers delicate enough. Major Sanan constructed me, returning to a previous operation.
Ha! Look who it is. Who knows? Probably need to cut me down and count the rings to figure it out at this point. I joined UC DRIP, Defense Research and Initiative Program, right after graduation. Worked on all kinds of projects, but I fell hard for Xenobio. Way I saw it, nature had already figured out plenty more than we ever will. So, why not just copy some of the answers? Initially, it was a lot of material sciences, using carapace to make tougher ship hulls, biofluids for helmet glass that didn't fog. But when the war started looming, top brass in the UC military had other ideas for what we should be looking into. That's where xenoweapons got started. There was a team before us, set up in some secret base somewhere, that laid down a fair bit of groundwork on the field. But when a lab accident took them down, they called on Hadrian and I to take up the mantle, set in motion everything that's come since. Oh yeah, known each other since the xenoweapons team first set up on Mars. You can imagine my shock when I walked into this place for the first time and found some plucky 19-year-old was gonna be my partner. We were supposed to be co-heads initially, but you've dealt with Hadrian. You can imagine about how long that lasted. But the Major knew her stuff. Saw potential in all her staff and knew how to get the best out of them. Kind of bull only an uncynical woman like Hadrian could pull off. For all the damage that group did, we were real tight-knit. Having that back, it's nice. Why? You want to watch an old man squirm? What we did back then, we were trying to win a war. We used every tool we had, tools we were permitted to use at the time, to try and win it. Well, let's hope it never comes to that. But at least now, with the TMD, some of that work is finally being put to better ends. Makes looking back a little less painful. You heard right. These terrormorph attacks, they caught the UC off guard. UC brass doesn't like that. So, they want us patrolling the front lines of xenological life. Ensure we've got intel on any possible new alien threats. Which means, we need someone to track down said aliens, and harvest samples from them. And not just any sample from these animals is gonna do either. We're trying to build a comprehensive picture here, which requires specific cells from specific family lines of some oftentimes unfriendly creatures. But since dealing with unfriendly creatures falls square in your wheelhouse, well, I figured we might be able to recruit you for the task. This isn't the same sort of harvesting you and Hadrian were doing with the terrormorphs. A little will go a long way here. If you can get close enough to these creatures to harvest from them directly, you should be able to collect what we need without killing them. I checked with Lieutenant Gwalter before heading out. A good EM weapon could serve you well on these missions. Though, if heavens forbid, there's no viable option other than putting the things down. We're only talking a select few specimens here. These populations will recover. Pretty much every beast, behemoth, critter, and chimera humanity's run across is on the list. But we can send in-house researchers after the little guys. Your job will be primarily dealing with the, more troublesome species. Glad to hear it. There is just one additional wrinkle. UC spec'd this as a one-person job, but I convinced them this sort of task merits expert backup. So, if you're interested, they've agreed to let you take Hadrian with you. You'll have to convince her, of course. But I don't think she'll fight you too badly. We could use Hadrian here, absolutely. But we have other scientists. Not a lot of other people can go up against apex predators and come home again and again. You and Hadrian are the right people for this job. I expect she wouldn't mind too badly being out there herself, so pay her a visit before you head out. Now, let's get you the details of your first quarry. Here you go. Head there, find your specimens, and bring those samples back here. I'll have a tech waiting outside to collect them from you. And remember, proximity should be all you need to get your samples. Get close, harvest, and get out before they spot you. Snatch those up and come home safe. Watch yourself. Some nasty creatures outside these walls. Be seeing you.
Hey, you need something? Okay, I'm listening. What's going on? Been great so far. I'm happy to be working with Percival again. I think the TMD's set up to make a real difference in the settled systems. I'm honored to be a part of it. Backup? What does that have to do with me? Come with you? You can't be serious. There's no way Percival would okay that. I have important work to do here with the TMD. Percival just can't help meddling, can he? I can't just pick up and leave the TMD. That's a huge decision. That's supposed to make me feel better? That old geezer will drive the place into the ground if I let him have his way. But if he wants to lose one of his best scientists to field work, that's on him. We'll see how long he lasts without me. If you really need backup out there, I'll watch your six. You can count on me to pull my weight. I'll always help out in combat, and I'm happy to assist you with any research, too. Having an extra xenosociologist around on this assignment sure couldn't hurt. We'll be dealing with plenty of hostile creatures. Yeah, I think so, too. Thank you for the offer. Really.
It was unexpected, but I think this will be for the best. Both for me and for the settled systems.
I'll head out soon. I just need to talk to Percival before I go. He's gonna get an earful for arranging this without talking to me about it first.
See you, Captain.